Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to another episode of New Earth Rhythm. Today, we're going to dive into the next phase of our spiritual evolutionary story, the next phase of our awakening collectively, globally, and personally. It is the reawakening of the solar plexus. And in 2027, there's going to be a genetic mutation that sweeps through the solar plexus system as predicted by human design and the gene keys. So, this is something I've been interested in for a few different years. I really found this stuff back in 2020. And the last 4 years, I've been experimenting with living out my own human design as a 5-1 emotional manifester, doing hundreds of readings for people so that I can really understand what all of this is all about. I'm gaining a really deep and powerful understanding of the energy behind this, the energy behind our awakening, our spiritual evolutionary story by reading for so many people and really devoting myself to understanding the gene keys, the human design system, astrology, the I Ching. And I'm at this place now where I'm so excited to dive into this and share this because it's almost 2025. And just think about how much the world has exponentially changed since 2012, which is that was the second phase of our threefold awakening. So we have 1987, the harmonic convergence. Then we have 2012, the melodic resonance. And then we have 2027, the rhythmic symphony. So go back and listen to my second episode of this podcast if you want an overview of all three phases of this threefold awakening sequence. But for now, I'm really going to dive into what's going to happen in 2027, the rhythmic symphony, which, if you're an OG, then you remember that was the original name of my podcast because I just had this really powerful realization that everything I've been working towards and embodying in my own spiritual journey, my own path of living in alignment as a 5-1 emotional manifester and learning how to live the experiment of human design and my role in our spiritual evolutionary story, my role as an initiator and as an energy activator. It was all like, it feels like it's all culminating and leading to the reawakening of the solar plexus in 2027. And it feels like all of the work that I share with you guys and everything that I've been drawn to and had an urge to learn and dive deep into and now share, it's always to live in alignment so that we can all really harness this powerful moment and make it like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, as you live in devotion to your highest calling and your highest path, you are doing this work to reawaken your own solar plexus and be right on time for this scheduled awakening. And then, in the own story of my own life, how meta it all is, I'm like, okay, it's in my own design to be able to understand how to transmute my own emotional process so that I can finally break free from my own shadow consciousness and break into the solar plexus, reawaken the solar plexus into higher states of awareness and share that with the world. And that's what permeates throughout the collective. It permeates throughout my family. The last episode, I talk all about this. I talk about how I had this really powerful realization as a manifester, how I need to change my communication styles because my husband is a reflector and he is reflecting back at me my emotional energy, the emotional wave, which we're going to dive into today in this episode. And he reflects back at me my cyclical energy as a manifester. And so if I never met Nathan, if I was never married to him, then I could have continued on my own journey in life, never really being faced with the volatility of my emotional wave. Because if I was alone, then, it's never really affecting anyone but me. So I could continue my own life alone and keep, myself trapped in this web of limitation and habits and patterns that don't actually serve me. Or, I've met my match who mirrors to me the ways that I am out of alignment and the ways that I'm falling victim to my emotional wave so that I am confronted with it and have to transform into the highest version of myself so that I can be the best version of myself for our daughter. So I know that I met Nathan at this point in my life because it's helping speed up my own reawakening of my solar plexus, which is the home of the emotions. And because I'm an emotional manifester, I'm ruled by the emotional wave. And this is all coming to a head for me right now in this really powerful and mind blowing way. It's all very meta. And like I said, I talk about this a lot in the last episode, how it's personally showing up in my life. And now I've just like been immersing myself in the 55th gene key where we find all this information these last few days so I could like really present it to everyone and share it in a way that I hope is really going to serve and hit home for you and resonate so that you understand how bright and powerful our future is now that we're moving towards a solar civilization. As we understand our own emotions and as we raise our awareness so that we're no longer victims to our emotional states, but that our awareness rides on top of our emotional waves and we become the observer. This is going to allow us to awaken our inner sun finally. We're no longer going to be trapped in our lowest two chakras, which have kept humanity shackled and blind. And we're finally going to awaken our inner sun. And then it's going to, our outer reality, all of our outer technological advancements, global advancements, societal advancements are going to lead to solar advancements. Like we're going to be harnessing the sun in new and powerful ways. It's going to be all about synergy. It's going to be bright. It's luminous. The future is so bright. This is so positive. So I'm excited to share. Let's get into it. I am screen sharing so that you guys can read along and check out the presentation I made. If you're watching this or if you're listening, that works too. I'm going to get us right into it. So there's this genetic mutation that's going to sweep through the solar plexus system. And again, this was predicted by the human design system, but it's using the ancient I Ching as like a genetic clock, which, this is the oldest book on the planet, is the I Ching. And that predicted that by the year 2027, we're going to have this. And this also corresponds with everything else I've been learning in Western and Eastern astrology, specifically in Chinese metaphysics. 2024 marked us moving into what's called period 9. So this period 9 rules from 2024 to 2043, and it's ruled by fire. It's an illumination. It is bringing us to purpose-based work and quantum healing, the quantum financial system, AI technology, blockchain. And it's just all about fire and illumination. So of course, it's just making such perfect sense to me because this is all about fire and our inner sun. And this also corresponds with now in Western astrology, Pluto moving into Aquarius, which I've made tons of episodes about that. Pluto moving into Aquarius is representing these same qualities and these same themes of fire, illumination, solar awareness, and advanced technology, solar advancements and communication, and community. It's all about community and it's like the sacred rebellion. So by 2027, we're going to see a consciousness shift that's going to be an implosion of high frequency Siddhic consciousness. So you guys have heard me talk about Siddhic consciousness. That's like the further evolved state that a human can reach while incarnated in our physical plane. They move from the shadow aspect, the collective shadows and their personal shadows, into their gifts. And then they move their gift beyond that into the Siddhic consciousness, which is like a supernova blast that is like literally like, I believe that every human is a star. And I think that when a supernova occurs in our galaxy, in our universe, it's actually a human being reaching Siddhic consciousness, which then blasts off like a star that permeates the stardust throughout the rest of humanity and allows that the rest of humanity to be able to make that jump themselves from shadow into gift. And then more people are able to go from gift into Siddhi. And this also corresponds with, so the reawakening of the solar plexus also corresponds to this idea of the sacred couple. And this is like, the 55th gene key. It just has so much within it. It is the heart of the entire transmission of the 64 gene keys. So I want to try to touch on as much of this as I possibly can without making this like the longest episode ever. But I think it's really important to talk about this because as we make that permanent leap out of the lowest two chakras, which is the root chakra, the shadow aspect is fear and survival and comfort zone and being stuck in limitation and victim consciousness. And then the sacral chakra shadow is lust and desire and being a slave to your senses and having no control over your sexual desires and squandering your sexual energy. And so, by us finally collectively making this permanent leap out of our lowest two chakras, this is going to be an end of sexuality as we know it, because the sacral chakra is the home of our creative life force energy. And this was weaponized against us by people constantly having releases or like watching porn and having meaningless sex and casual sex. They're squandering their creative life force energy that would have rather allowed them to pull that energy up from the sacral into the solar plexus, where they can then take creative inspired action in the world and birth their creative energy and ideas and divine ideas into the world, and then pull that energy up even more into the heart, into the throat chakra, the home of manifestation, and then all the way up to the crown, like connecting us back to source, being the exact place where heaven and earth meet, being unlocking your superhuman powers and potential. Yeah, that is squandered for most of us because of this sexuality. It's this a sexual misery program has been run on us where this is like instilled in us at a young age, and it has kept us down. It's kept us shackled. It's also led to overpopulation, which we're going to get into later. But this is finally the reawakening of the solar plexus. We're finally going to be able to move into creativity and higher consciousness. And this is like the ancient symbol of the 55th gene key is a cup of abundance or the sacred chalice, because at the shadow level, the cup is never full. It's a one side of relationship is either always pulling, one is pushing, one is needing, one is rejecting. The situation is caused by the human tendency to blame, which puts you in a constant dynamic in the relationship where both partners drain each other, and it leads to blame equals victim consciousness. Someone wants to just blame their partner or everything else around them for why they're unhappy and why their life sucks, instead of them taking full responsibility for it and becoming the co-creator and bringing in self-restraint and self-discipline and making choices that support the proper nurturing of the mind, body, and spirit, which would allow them to raise their consciousness. So this is the whole idea of the victim as well. And that is the shadow of the 55th gene key is victim. And the gift and the siddhi is freedom. And out of all the 64 gene keys, this is the only one where the gift and the siddhi are the same exact word and meaning of freedom. All the other ones have a different word for gift and then a different word for the siddhi. So it's just really powerful. And we'll get into what freedom really means. But this is just like a great love finally that we're going to see on the earth once we are able to understand our emotions and make this permanent leap out of the lowest two chakras. There is going to be only one awareness in the relationship. The cup is always overflowing, and we will no longer fall in love. We will rise into love. And this is a perfect balance of yin yang, finally shattering the illusion of separateness and release the endless release of, we're finally going to not squander our energy. And these are going to lead to sacred marriages that extend into families and communities, which is how this powerful awareness is going to spread throughout the collective. And this great change comes to human beings, the ancient fear within us is going to subside. So by us making this permanent leap out of victim consciousness into freedom, reawakening our solar plexus, freeing ourselves from the shackles of the lowest two chakras, we're finally going to free ourselves from ancient fear, and we're going to vibrate at a higher frequency that will chemically leave us free from old genetic inherited ancestral fear. And it is believed that our generation, we are the sacrificial lambs, that we chose to come here to change our entire bloodline, our entire ancestry, which meant that we had to be inherited with all of these shadows within us, which could have been a quite painful and confusing upbringing if you weren't aware of any of this, or if you've never had anyone like talk like this in your life. And then it was up to you to become the alchemist to transmute that and understand that your emotions are here for you to harness and use as a tool to bring you deep wisdom and deep, profound states of higher awareness, but for you not to get lost in the emotion itself and fall victim to your emotions. This is the life of the alchemist. You transmute pain back into love, you transmute darkness into light. And so all of us are the generation of the alchemists. And we're doing powerful work here to change our entire bloodline, our entire ancestry, and our entire human story. Because outside of this dimension, there is no time, right? So as we do the work here today, it not only permeates throughout our collective of human beings that are currently alive on Earth right now in this dimension, but every human being who has ever lived. And this is leading to ultimate freedom, where we're no longer going to try to escape the pure longing of life. We'll no longer fear true freedom, because we'll operate from an awareness that is beyond the mind. And this is what we're going to get into, because this is the most powerful aspect of all of this, is that we've been so shackled and limited because we're all living inside of our minds, and we need to move our awareness out of our minds and into our bodies. So I love this. The moment that you think you have life pinned down, it mutates. We are in a deep process of transcending the mental game of trying to understand life. And the ancient sages called this world that we inhabit the Maya, which is the illusion. And our problem has always been that we try to understand this Maya, this illusion, this matrix, with an instrument, AKA our mind, that is bound by the laws that prevent true understanding. You cannot use an instrument within the Maya to understand the Maya. The new awareness in humans will bring an end to many things. One will be an ending to the question of how. As a species, we're no longer going to be obsessed with intellectual understanding, wondering how and why and what's going on here. And it's also going to mark the end of the spiritual seeker. And we'll no longer fix our awareness on structures and systems. We'll no longer hunger or desire at any other levels. We'll be like the poet or the musician who enters into the mystery of life itself. And we'll just have this pure awareness of inner knowing, trust, and clarity. And so I love it. It's poetic genetics. This is when our consciousness begins to rise up to the pure awareness of our emotional system. And we'll finally be able to see through the veil that has held us captive. And we're finally going to be able to create true, great poetry of our lives. May our life be one big moving prayer. We're truly entering into an era of great beauty. Like, the future is so beautiful. It's so bright. This will be a transcendent era in which creativity will rule and life itself will be experienced as art, period. And so this is a genetic mutation, and humanity hasn't experienced something like this in a very, very, very long time. And so there's going to be this sudden quantum leap that takes place, and then it's going to be followed by periods of integration. So, like I said, around 2027, something powerful is going to permeate throughout our collective. And then it's going to be, we'll see the effects over decades, up to decades to 50 years or so. We're going to see massive change. And then real societal change will happen over hundreds of years. So let's get into the human design system. So if you're watching right now, I have the human design body graph, and then this triangle down here that's highlighted yellow is the solar plexus center, and this is the home of the emotional wave. This is where we experience emotions. Emotions are not the mind, emotions are not the heart. Okay, emotions are fickle and they're ever changing. And whereas like the heart is strength and fearlessness and unconditional knowing and love and trust and surrender, emotions are not the heart. Okay. Emotions are the solar plexus, and the sheer voltage of our emotional states far outweighs the subtle cognitive processes of reason that emanate from the cranial brain. So our solar plexus is also known as our second brain, because this is what like true manifestation is all about. You don't think your way into what you want. You feel the emotion of what you want, and then you call it into your awareness by holding that emotion in your field. You feel it in your body. It sends a shockwave ripple in your body. You get goosebumps all over, and then you program your magnetic monopole. This is the diamond in the middle of the chest on this body graph here. That's the home of our law of attraction. And then now that you've programmed your magnetic monopole, boom, now it's in your energy field, and now you pull it to you what it is that you truly desire. So our emotions, this is how you use your emotions. You don't let your emotions use you. But half of the population has a defined solar plexus system. So half of us on the planet are ruled by our emotions. And that means that there's a constant emotional backdrop playing in our lives that we really don't have any control over, as opposed to someone who is non-emotional, like my husband, because he's a reflector. He doesn't have any defined energy centers. He only experiences the emotion when it's actually occurring in the moment. Like if we're watching a movie and it's really sad, then he'll feel that sadness, right? But me, who is ruled by my emotions because I'm an emotional manifester, I will wake up one day and just feel sad. And nothing will have happened the night before. There's no rhyme or reason to it that I know of. It's a part of a greater, rhythmic story, hidden higher purpose that's unfolding for me by the universe, by my angels and my guides, who, want me to be in a lower state that day for a reason that is beyond my cognitive understanding. Perhaps it's to create like a great work of art or something. But I just wake up and then I'm in like a low mood that day. I'm in a sad, lower mood. I'm at the low end of my wave. And this used to be my life quite frequently when I was younger and living completely out of alignment. I experienced this all the time. This emotional wave was so tumultuous in my life, high, low, high, low, high, low. And then, as I began to live more and more in alignment, now these lows come a lot less frequently, but they definitely still come, and it's something beyond my control. And so half of us on the planet have this emotional backdrop that's just playing throughout our lives. And this is what leads to so much chaos on the planet, because people make decisions and reactions to their emotional states, whether it be an emotional high or an emotional low. They make decisions in these moments that aren't in alignment with their true self, their higher self, their spirit, their true longing for their direction in life. So it's like the worst time for them to make decisions, and then it leads to regret. It also is what leads to so much violence on our planet. Men feel these emotions that come in like a lightning bolt of whether it be anger or rage or fury or frustration or hurt or whatever, and they don't know how to handle them and become the observer. And so they turn to a violent reaction to this emotion, to this emotional surge, like a lightning bolt that comes through them. And so human design is such an amazing tool because it gives us the language to understand what's going on here. And it also gives us a strategy that if you are ruled by this emotional wave, you're not meant to make spontaneous decisions. You're not meant to make decisions in the moment. Like if something comes along, a big life decision, you're not meant to answer it right away. Wait until your emotions die down. And then after a few days or perhaps even a few weeks, you'll finally gain clarity once your wave has gone back down, and then you can make a decision that is actually in alignment and not something that you'll later regret. So this has been like the theme. This is what we've all been experiencing, and human design's been here to help us navigate living a life with this emotional authority. But ultimately it's what keeps humans separate and fighting and chaotic and having this like miscommunication and misunderstanding, because we're always meeting each other at different emotional states. It's very rare that you're going to match up and meet with someone when you're both experiencing crystal clarity at this present moment of humanity. So it's been I'll say, like, I don't want to say detriment to humanity, but it's just been keeping us in a lower frequency, a lower consciousness. But this is why we are due for this reawakening of the solar plexus, a reawakening of this understanding of our emotional center, complete mutation of our emotional center so that we can finally all experience crystal clarity in every moment, not be victims to our emotions, and be able to connect with people through crystal clarity for the first time ever. Humans have never had this, where every single human will be in crystal clarity at the same exact moment. And think about how powerful and exponential it's going to lead to building and creations when we're no longer falling victim to our emotional whims. It's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be synergy. It's going to be powerful. And this is also known as Atlantean awareness. It's believed that the ancient Atlanteans, they had reached this level of a reawakened solar plexus, that they weren't actually living from their minds, they were living from their solar plexus. And that's why they were able to accomplish such incredible things that are beyond our wildest dreams. So this is a reawakening of Atlantean awareness and Edenic awareness, where we'll finally be able to enjoy peace on earth and enjoy the Garden of Eden. And so this is called the stilling of the wave. And I just love this. Like, I feel it in my whole heart. I feel it in my whole body. It's just so beautiful. It's like, if you have this emotional awareness, if you have a defined emotional center in human design, it's a part of your own hero's journey to be able to still your own wave. And this is what I talk about in my last podcast episode is I'm learning how to still my own wave. And my husband, who is reflecting the wave back at me, is here to help me see when and where my wave is ruling my life and how I can come back into the moment and rise above it to still the wave, not only for myself, but for my family, because I initiate the emotional energy in our family. And so if I want peace and stillness in our family, it's up to me to still the wave. And so by stilling the wave, we're finally going to make decisions that are in harmony with our true nature. And we'll finally get away from this collective energy field of chaos, and we'll be able to live a life in peace. And so the people in whom this mutation manifests will not be caught in the emotional drama of life. Their awareness will ride on top of these waves instead of being lost within them. And those that experience the stilling of the wave are going to be extremely calm, and you'll be able to recognize them by the peace in their eyes. Every person carrying the mutation will effectively still the wave in their environment. And then I also believe that children that are born from here and up until 2027 and beyond 2027, I think that if I start to look up, when my friends have more kids and they want me to look up their baby's human design, I guarantee I'm going to start seeing way less defined solar plexus. Because my daughter, she does not have a defined solar plexus. She is non-emotional. She's not ruled by the emotional wave. And I'm stoked for her. I'm so happy. And I believe that that's what this mutation is, and that it's already occurring, that children are just not going to be born with this. They won't be born with the emotional wave, because they are the next generation that's going to inherit the new earth, which does not involve getting caught up in this emotional wave. So I think it's already happening. I think it's already starting. And so that's what I think the next generation of children will be. They'll be born with the mutation already. Because I think I did the work before and while I was pregnant to be able to, create the mutation. That's what I'm working on, is creating the mutation within myself that we're able to pass along to our daughter, and, set her up for a peaceful life to inherit the new earth. That's the goal. And so this is like those that are born into this awareness already, their collective presence will slowly tune the rest of humanity to a different dimension, a dimension of endless clarity and stillness. And this will deeply affect the way in which human beings make decisions. Decisions will no longer be subject to the shifting patterns of emotional chemistry for the first time ever. So awesome. And it's going to ultimately lead to world peace. And I love this quote. I really love sharing this, is that this process, hold on, let me let Lulu in. She was dying to come in. Come in, Lulu. Okay. So, this process of stilling the wave is akin to an orchestra warming up before a concert. All one hears is a cacophony of different tones sounded on different instruments at random. This is the current state of humanity. When the mutation arrives, the conductor taps his stick on the podium until every instrument is silent. Only when silence has been attained can we hear the hidden harmony that is the true nature of humanity. This is rhythmic symphony. First, it was harmony, 1987, harmonic convergence. Then it's the melody, that's 2012, melodic resonance. And now it is symphony, rhythmic symphony. This is poetry. This is music. Human beings are musical, are very, our bodies are a musical instrument, and then our life is poetry. And we're finally going to enter into the great rhythmic symphony of the universe. Slay. Okay, so this also relates to the environment. And this is so interesting that by us reawakening our solar plexus and igniting our inner sun, we're going to see the effects throughout the entire world, because as within, so without, as above, so below. At every level of society, the ancient human wound is being expressed through business, government, and the environment itself. And this is like every great civilization, every ancient civilization has their own myth of the flood. And this is what human design and the Gene Keys thinks about the myth of the flood. It's that the flood is coming, and it will separate gift consciousness from victim consciousness. It is believed that since 2012, the world has literally been split into two. You're either a part of the old world who wants to keep living in separation, distraction, satisfying your physical senses and serving yourself, or you are a part of moving the dream of oneness and unity into form, changing the world from the inside out, and you are a part of our awakening story. So we're essentially living in two different realities coexisting at the same exact time, but there is going to be a distinct split where the majority of people are now a part of this awakening story. We're a part of gift consciousness, and we're finally moving away from victim consciousness. And so global warming and pollution are classic expressions of the human wound seen on a broader level. These kinds of phenomena represent the last raging of victim consciousness, with the earth herself playing the role of victim. And there's enormous collective fears surrounding the issues of what we're doing to our environment. But the irony is that if humanity were not in the grip of this world mutation, we would inevitably destroy ourselves. And so this physical genetic mutation that's occurring is literally creating a new species of human. And as our spirit settles and our awareness allows us to experience unity with each other, we'll also experience unity with all of creation, with all animals. And for the first time, we'll be able to connect with animals in a very direct way, because animals already have collective consciousness. And so they are already the entire animal kingdom is already the true embodiment of the 55th gift and city of freedom. And so we're going to finally join them in that collective consciousness, in that freedom. And not only will we stop eating animals, but for the first time, we'll be able to experience ourselves as one of them. I love that. I love that. And like I mentioned before, the major key to the future will be a huge decrease in human population that occurs due to the shift in the frequency of emotional and sexual apparatus. Way less children are going to be born when we are very selective about who we give our bodies to and who we choose to sleep with. And may it only be those that deserve our sexual energy, that we're in a divine union with. And so the busy world will fall silent. Huge tracts of the earth will be reclaimed by the wilderness, and a sense of space and freedom that is the essence of earth will return. And then this is going to lead to amazing future technology and the new science of synthesis. So we'll always be able to continue to harness the incredible technology that we have thus far created. And with the rising of our inherent gifts, we're jumping out of shadow consciousness. So all of our gifts are coming online. We're going to improve upon our technology exponentially. And the technology is going to be able to improve all aspects of life, human life, of all earth life and of earth herself. And so the future will be a co-creative stewardship with nature. In essence, human beings have always been gardeners, and that really our role on this planet is just to complete the beauty of nature by adding our own spirit to it. Like humans are here to witness the beauty and the stories of the lands and of the waters. And then we add in our own divine creativity to the beauty that already exists. And earth beauty is proof that God is real and that everything is divine and that God is everything. And so when we're contemplating humanity's potential future technologies, we need to bear in mind that the coming mutation will directly affect the way that we think. And since our primary awareness is shifting to the solar plexus area, away from our minds to the solar plexus, all future insights and breakthroughs in science will come from this awareness rather than from the logical mind. So everything is going to completely change. Like the scientific method is out. People will not use that anymore. We're going to be coming from a place of inner knowing and awareness, and then use logic to help us birth it into the new world, rather than coming from a place of skepticism and uncertainty and then using like a method to try to figure it out. We're going to completely change the way that we operate because we're already coming from this place of inner knowing and higher awareness. And so it's going to give birth to a new era of science and technology. In the future, science will be a synthesis. So it's going to work hand in hand with art, music, mythology, psychology, and of particular importance, it'll be rooted in the physical structure and understanding of the human body. Because, for example, geometry is the central organizing model that allows a human mind to correlate all patterns within the holographic universe, right? So, for example, it's now being shown in advanced physics that the geometry of the 64 hexagrams or the 64 gene keys is not only present within the tetrahedral structure of DNA, but also underpins space-time itself and is the foundation of music. So, do you guys understand what that means? That our very energetic blueprint DNA is the very structure of space-time itself, and it is music. So this just proves that, we're able to prove this actually through the laws of fractal geometry. And it's going to really finally, we're going to make this leap. We're finally just going to leap into higher awareness and a better way of life now that we all collectively accept that we are music and we are the universe. And so we use our body as like the microcosm to the macrocosm. By understanding our energetic body, we'll understand the universe that much more and stop being so weak in this cosmic game. Humans have been so weak in the cosmic game, and we're finally going to be big players in the cosmic game. And such a synthesis can only be made possible through mass collaboration across a wide variety of fields of expertise. So we are becoming a solar civilization. Our most bountiful natural resource is the sun. It's going to become our true source of our energy. Humanity is becoming a solar civilization once we reach this level of freedom. And this is like the entire heart of my message here, is that in the hologram of the universe, the reawakening of the solar plexus will have its reflection in our technology and in our society. It is a universal law that our external findings mirror our inner development. So as we ignite our inner sun, we're finally going to really harness our outer sun and worship our outer sun, like how our ancient ancestors did. And as we transcend the very structure of our own DNA, we'll finally break free from the gravitational pull of the lower frequencies. And in science, this will be reflected in new technologies such as plasma physics, which will enable us to transcend physical gravity and bend time and space. So we're finally going to be able to travel outside of our solar system and begin to explore our galaxy and universe like the rest of our brothers and sisters of the universe. Our alien homies will finally be able to join them in this cosmic way of life. And this is not very far off in the future. Okay. So more than likely technological foundations will be laid for this in the first half of this very century. So we're going to experience such exponential growth and change as we ourselves experience massive exponential growth and change by making this permanent leap out of shadow consciousness and igniting our inner sun. And this also leads to a new kind of order. We're being brought into a state of cosmic harmony. And this is going to lead to the gradual demise of corruption and crime. So, this also relates to money because money is essentially a physical expression of victim consciousness. It represents human fear. Our relationship to money is therefore our relationship to fear. There's nothing that reveals a hidden agenda more quickly than the subject of money. And nearly all money, given or received, carries a hidden charge. Only money that is given or received unconditionally has no charge attached. And if you're watching this and you notice that I have a bunch of typos, I typed this super fast the other night when my baby was asleep. So just don't pay attention to that. Okay, let's move on. And the most successful businesses of the future will be based upon this gift of synergy, and the kind of businesses that really thrive in the future, like I said, are the ones that are working towards the betterment of humanity, Earth herself, uplifting our community, that are purpose based, that are, focused on health and making real positive solar advances in life. But it's also the businesses that are not based on competition and fear, but rather transparent and highly efficient businesses, because greed and fear are actually highly inefficient. And this is also going to lead to an era of optimal health because freedom is the only true medicine of the future. And it's knowing true freedom is knowing, and it's knowing that you are not separate from life. So the secret to optimal health lies actually in the 28th gift, where you allow free flow of life force energy, pranic energy, to enter your physical body. And as we transcend the old fear and we finally unshackle ourselves from the lowest two chakras, you open up your entire vessel, you strengthen your aura, and you're able to allow more life force energy to pour into your entire vessel, into your being, unimpeded. So everyone is going to become much healthier and more vital, because the sheer power and vitality of this energy carries enormous healing potential, and it will literally eradicate all diseases that riddle humanity. As you strengthen your aura, you can't get sick. When your aura is super strong, you'll be unimpenetrable to disease and illness, and your body will be able to heal itself so quickly. And at this point, you're already making choices that support the proper nurturing of your mind, body, and spirit. You're already treating your body like a vessel, and you have the proper vitamins and nutrients, and you're taking in the sunlight. You are one with earth around you. Your body is going to become so vital, and you'll actually slow down, if not reverse aging. And so true healing is connected to our ancestral DNA. In order for a single person to be in perfect health, their entire genetic lineage must be burned clean. And that's what you're doing when you are taking this inward journey, this middle path, igniting your inner flame, opening up all of your chakras. You're actually burning away your ancestral and collective shadows and traumas that have kept all of us stuck and limited. You're doing this really powerful work for your entire lineage. And this is where we're going to see the Siddhic energies manifest in the world. And so every time a Siddhi manifests through someone, it sends a shockwave of purity back down the entire genetic fractal line. People who bring Siddhic frequencies into the world also take into themselves the collective shadows of their ancestral lines, which I talked about before. It is no small feat. If you chose to come here and you chose to have this path, if you're drawn to this, you chose to take on the entire shadows of your ancestry, and you chose to be the one to burn it all away. So just like really feel what that means, and just be so proud and grateful for your journey in life, that you are here and that you're doing this work and that you're living in devotion to your highest calling. It's no small feat. And the last few things that I want to say are that this is also connected to the restoration of the divine feminine, of course. And the number of those in which these cities are manifest will shortly increase, because there's this great incarnation taking place on the physical plane, which is the divine feminine spirit. So I believe that it's in my generation too, that all of us really carry the spirit of the divine feminine within us, which is a collective energy. It's like a constellation of beings that chose to come here right now at this great awakening, and we're all operating a core fractal. So, as you're doing this work, not only are you healing your entire ancestral line, not only are you helping raise the collective consciousness, but you are helping to restore the divine feminine spirit, which is the perfect balance of yin yang back to the earth, which is something that we've been missing for hundreds of thousands of years. And this is also related to the reawakening of the solar feminine. So I won't get too much into this. This is super out there. This is like deep esoteric and occult knowledge about our lunar matrix, that the moon actually keeps us in this state of limitation, and that we need to have a remembrance of the solar feminine, that we actually used to have two suns in our solar system, and the other one was the divine feminine solar goddess, and that was taken away from us and replaced with a lunar matrix. Listen, that's like a whole other rabbit hole. We don't have to get into it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay, if this doesn't resonate with you, then don't let it undermine everything else that I just said. If that resonated with you, this is just like a side that I wanted to throw in there in case something, bells are going off for you, something makes sense for you. It's all about the solar feminine, the restoration of the solar feminine. So as we awaken our own inner sun, if you are a divine feminine being, you're also awakening the resurgence of the solar feminine, like a return of the solar dragon awareness, which is what's really going to bring humanity back into balance. So solar feminine is returning through us. And that's all I'm going to share for now. I mean, that's so much information. I don't even know how long this episode has been, but if you're still listening, if you really resonate deeply with this, you need to, first of all, read the Gene Keys, listen to it on audiobook. Again, this is coming from the 55th Gene Key, which is so juicy. I've already, part of the 55th Gene Key is the details about the threefold awakening sequence itself, which I talk about in episode 2. And then this is another part of 55 called Emotions and Decisions. And as you could see, there's just so much to get into, so much to dive into. So if you're interested in this, go listen to the Gene Keys audiobook, read the book, get the book. It's literally like my Bible. I work with it all the time. And look into your human design and see how this energy shows up in your own holographic profile, how it shows up in your own life. Contemplate and meditate on this and see how you can, understand how to use your emotions. Don't let them use you, how you can still the wave in your own life so that you can still the wave in your family and in your community and be this self-fulfilling prophecy of the reawakening of the solar plexus. I think that we are the ones who are bringing this prophecy into alignment. We're all coming online just as we're being ignited by it. As we ignite it, it's igniting us because we are not separate from anything in life. It's like everything's been a perfect storm for this to happen right now, including in my own personal life, getting to this place where I'm at right now, being with who I'm with right now. It's like all coming to a head for this really powerful reawakening of the solar plexus. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the tribe. We have some really amazing offerings coming up. Join us on December 21st, the winter solstice. We're doing a really powerful dragon activation, dragon awakening, where we're going to do, really powerful grounding and clearing of our energy field. We're going to awaken our inner dragon. We're going to connect with our dragon guide, receive a powerful message, and then collectively, we're going to send a collective prayer across the ley lines for this, resurgence of the solar energy. So it's going to be super powerful, so beautiful. Read about that on my website. Send me a message if you want to join us. I believe it's $77. And that comes with a 2-hour, full package session that's going to be recorded and emailed out for lifetime access as well. And if you want a specific human design reading for yourself, for your family, you want to understand how this is showing up in your family dynamics, or if you want to incorporate this into quantum coaching, read all about that on my website. I am of service. It is my honor to share all of this and to help any way I can. So really appreciate the opportunity to be of service. And thank you for trusting me with that. and with sharing this information. And I hope it serves, I hope it lands, I hope it resonates, and I hope it, unlocks something within you that will lead to a quantum leap that's really going to be super powerful and beautiful in your own life. All right, sending so much love. Today's Friday the 13th. I love it. All right, peace out. Goodbye.